A man doesn't fail his family in one dramatic moment. It never happens all at once. It begins quietly, when he ignores the warning signs from his body, when tiredness becomes normal, when pain is brushed aside with the words, "I'll deal with it later." But later is never free. Later always collects interest. Strength is not something you lose overnight. You lose it slowly, by skipping rest, by eating without care, by choosing convenience over discipline, by pushing through discomfort instead of listening to what your body is trying to say. And one day, you're still standing there, still going to work, still providing, but you are no longer dependable. Not because you don't care, but because your body can no longer keep up with your responsibilities. If you are over 40, this isn't about fear or weakness. It's about awareness, because your health is not just your own. It is the foundation your family stands on. A man who cannot protect his health cannot fully protect his family. Not with good intentions, not with hard work alone. Only with quiet discipline, practiced daily, long before problems appear. Most men don't ignore their health because they don't care. They ignore it because they believe one dangerous lie. They believe they still have time. They tell themselves they'll rest later. They'll eat better when work slows down. They'll exercise when life becomes less busy. But life never becomes less busy. It only becomes heavier. After 40, the body no longer forgives neglect the way it used to. Recovery takes longer. Energy disappears faster. Small problems quietly turn into chronic ones. Yet many men keep pushing forward, mistaking endurance for strength. They wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. They normalize pain. They ignore warning signs because stopping feels like weakness. But discipline is not about how much pain you can tolerate. It's about knowing when to slow down before damage is done. True strength at this stage of life is not about proving toughness. It's about preservation. Because a man who collapses later leaves a heavier burden for the people he loves now. Health ignored today becomes regret tomorrow. And regret offers no protection to a family that depends on you. At this stage of life, discipline is no longer about extremes. It's not about punishing your body. It's not about proving you can still endure pain. And it's definitely not about chasing the energy you had at 20. Real discipline after 40 is quieter. It's more intentional. And it's built around respect, not ego. It's choosing sleep over late nights that add nothing. It's eating with awareness instead of appetite alone. It's moving your body not to impress anyone, but to keep it working for the years ahead. Most men fail here because they wait for motivation. But motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Discipline stays, when it's simple enough to repeat and realistic enough to maintain. You don't need dramatic routines. You don't need perfect days. You need consistency in ordinary moments. A short walk done daily outperforms intense workouts done occasionally. Balanced meals eaten most of the time matter more than strict diets followed briefly. This is the kind of discipline that doesn't exhaust you. It supports you. Because your goal is not to push harder every year. Your goal is to remain capable. Capable of showing up. Capable of providing. Capable of being present when your family needs you. Not just now, but 10, 20 years from today. That is discipline with a future. And that is strength that truly protects. Real discipline shows up in small, unremarkable choices The kind no one praises, the kind no one posts online. It's going to bed before exhaustion forces you to. It's stopping when your body signals instead of when it breaks. It's choosing routines that fit your real life, not the ideal version you imagine, but never maintain. After 40, your body speaks clearly. Most men just stop listening. They ignore stiffness in the morning. They normalize constant fatigue. They accept poor sleep, poor digestion, poor focus as the cost of being responsible. But responsibility doesn't require self-destruction. Discipline is learning to read those signals early, not panicking, not overreacting, just adjusting consistently. You slow down where needed. You simplify where possible. You protect energy instead of spending it carelessly. This is not weakness. This is leadership. Because when you manage your health well, you reduce uncertainty for everyone who depends on you. Your family doesn't need you intense. They need you stable. They need you present, not constantly recovering. They need you capable, not constantly pushing past limits. That means regular checkups instead of emergency visits, movement instead of immobility, nutrition instead of convenience, recovery instead of denial. None of this is dramatic. That's why it works. Discipline at this stage of life is not about becoming impressive. It's about becoming reliable, year after year, without collapsing quietly in the background. When a man neglects his health, he rarely suffers alone. The cost shows up quietly in the people closest to him, in a wife who carries more worry than she admits, in children who sense instability long before it's explained, in a family that learns to adjust around his limitations. Most men say they endure pain for their family, but what they don't realize is that unmanaged health becomes a burden their family has to carry with them. It's not the big collapse that hurts the most. It's the slow erosion. Missed moments because you're too tired. Short tempers because your body is depleted. Absence, even when you're physically present. Your family may never complain. They adapt. They lower expectations. They stop asking. And that silence is dangerous. Because love doesn't need perfection, but it does need reliability. Your wife doesn't need you heroic. She needs you steady. Your children don't need speeches. They need presence. Health is what allows you to listen without irritation, to respond without exhaustion, to show up without resentment. This is why discipline matters here. Not to extend life endlessly, but to protect the quality of the years you're given. A man who protects his health is not being selfish. He is reducing fear. He is increasing stability. He is honoring the people who trust him the most. That is what responsibility looks like after 40. Discipline at its core is not about control. It's about care. Care for the body that carries your responsibilities. Care for the years you still owe the people you love. Care for the man you want to remain, not just today, but long after. No one is asking you to be perfect. No one expects dramatic change overnight. What matters is the direction you choose when no one is watching. The meal you don't skip. The rest you don't postpone. The habit you protect, even when motivation fades. These choices may feel small, but over time, they decide whether you stay capable or slowly disappear behind exhaustion and excuses. Your family doesn't need you intense. They need you intact. They need you strong enough to show up, healthy enough to stay, and disciplined enough to protect what matters without making noise about it. This is not about fear of aging. It's about respect for life. Because a man who protects his health is protecting his future presence. And a man who stays present consistently, quietly, becomes the kind of strength a family can rely on. That is discipline, not loud, not visible, but unbreakable.